Well.
Islam Makhachev has just stunned fans with new training footage ahead of his potential clash with Della Maddalena. But while the video shows Islam looking sharp, Craig Jones believes this could be one of Makhachev's most difficult fights to date. Jones referenced Islam's first bout with Alexander Volkanovski to illustrate a key point. Makhachev can be challenged by elite-level scrambling, and Jack, according to Jones, brings even more unpredictability to the table with his unorthodox grappling and grip-breaking skills. I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. Obviously, he's faced Volk twice, we'll forget about the second one, but the first was very competitive, especially in the grappling. Now he's facing a guy with some of the best scrambling ability in all of MMA, and some of the most unique grappling you'll see. That's something Belal struggled with. Belal sticks to a blueprint. It works very well, but there's not a lot of creativity. Jack, as you saw in his last fight, does things that are just hard to prepare for. Off balances, grip breaks, and movements you don't see from most fighters.
I think it's a super difficult fight for Islam, this one. He's like, obviously he's faced Volk twice. We'll forget about the second one, but the first one, very competitive with the grappling. And now we're talking about he's facing a guy that's some of the best scrambling ability, I think, period, in all of MMA, and some of the most unorthodox grappling. And I think that's what Belal struggled with. Belal really just sticks to a blueprint. The blueprint obviously works very well.
Jones also pointed out that Jack's size advantage might be underestimated. He expects the matchup to be an exciting, strike-heavy contest that the UFC will happily promote. The size difference is going to be bigger than people think, Jones added. We've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled in those grappling exchanges. Now imagine Jack, who's been working with Volk. This is a perfect fight. The UFC wants guys who stand and bang, and Jack fits that perfectly, even if he's going up against a guy like Islam.
But in terms of creativity in what Belal does, I think it's pretty strict. Jack, as you saw in that fight, some of his off balances and grip breaks and some of the things he does, it's really hard to prepare for that. So I think like Islam, the size difference is going to be quite a lot bigger than people think. And we've seen how Volk did on the ground and how much Islam struggled with him in the grappling exchanges. And having seen Jack and Volk work together, seeing the skill sets, like this is a perfect one. The UFC want guys that stand and bang. I'm trying to still help them out, even though potentially enemy.
Jorge Masvidal weighed in as well, describing this as a major challenge for both fighters. He emphasized Islam's size and the effort he puts into making 155 pounds, suggesting that Makhachev might actually perform better at welterweight. However, Masvidal made it clear, Jack is special. I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy cutting a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 170, Masvidal said. Problem is, though, Jack is special. We're going to see just how special he is. If he beats Islam, Jack's #1 pound for pound. That's impressive.
I've seen Islam, bro. He's a big guy. He's sucking out a lot of weight to get to 55. I think he might start doing better at 70. Problem is, though, Jack is special. We're going to see just how special he is if he beats Islam. Jack, #1 pound for... Wow, that's impressive, you know?
While Masvidal slightly leans towards Islam, he warned this fight won't be easy. He pointed out Jack's strong takedown defense against Belal Muhammad's relentless cardio, but noted Islam's wrestling is on another level. Islam's wrestling is above, his stand-up is improving. I don't think he can strike with Jack at the start. Jack has way better hands, range, speed, and power. But if Islam can survive early and drag this into later rounds, he's got the experience in grappling to take over.
I'm leaning towards Islam, brother.
Oh, really?
You know, but I really think it's going to be a tough fight for him, but a great fight, man.
Jack was able to defend takedown attempts by Belal.
Belal has the best cardio in MMA, but Belal doesn't have Islam's technique. Not same technique. Not same. Very good, very aggressive. Belal never stops a dog. Attack. But Islam is like smart, man. Boom. You know, Islam's level of wrestling is above. His stand-up game is improving. I don't think he could go stand-up in the beginning with Jack. Jack has way better hands, way better range, faster, stronger. But as the rounds go on later and later, he could do.
Islam continues to sharpen his skills, training with elite partners like Khabib Nurmagomedov and the American Kickboxing Academy team. His camps are built on intense wrestling, submission drills, control work, and strength conditioning to maintain dominance deep into fights. At welterweight, the weight cut will be easier, potentially boosting his performance.
Well.
However, Stephen Thompson cautioned that welterweight is a different game. Many fighters cut down from well over 205 pounds, and while Islam is big for 155, he won't have the same size advantage at 170. When you move to welterweight, you're facing big boys, Thompson said. Islam walks around heavy, but a lot of these 170s are 205, 210 pounds outside of camp. I think he could still get it done. He's that good of a grappler, but Jack has already faced top welterweight wrestlers like Bilal. It's going to be a tough night for Islam. Thompson admitted he'd personally love to see Islam fight Ilia Topuria, but the UFC seems set on pushing the Jack fight, possibly as soon as October.
I don't know, man. I mean, when you're going up to the welterweight division, those are some big boys. And I know Islam Makhachev walks around fairly heavy, but a lot of these 170s, they walk around real heavy. I'm talking about, over 205, 210 to the 215. Some of the guys that I faced would walk around at that weight. I think like the height, I think they might be the same height. I think JDM might be a little taller, but when it comes to those guys and their strength, Islam, I think, is going to have a tough time. Now, do I think he could get it done? Yes. I think he's that good of a grappler. But like I said, JDM has faced some of the best welterweight grapplers and wrestlers in the division. Islam, Bilal being one of them. I think it's going to be a tough night for him. I would like to see Islam fight Topuria. That's just me. I would love to see that fight happen. But if he comes up, we'll see what the UFC gets behind. And we all know you got to convince the UFC to make it happen. And you do that first by getting on Twitter, shouting it out, and get people talking about it. And that's what Islam did. So we'll see if that fight happens with JDM.
Aljamain Sterling sees it differently. He thinks Jack wins decisively. People are going to say it's a wild take, but I think JDM smokes Islam. He's bigger, keeps opponents at mid-range, and it's hard to shoot on him. Islam won't have the same size advantage he's used to.
You pick JDM to win. Now he's got a big challenge in his first title defense against Islam. Do you think he's got what it takes to beat an Islam Makhachev in his first defense?
People are going to say it's a wild take, but I reckon JDM smokes Islam. Shins him so bad. It's going to be so bad that the Topuria Islam thing will just be gone.
Do you think Islam's wrestling won't be a threat to JDM just because he's a lot bigger?
He's a lot bigger, and when you watch JDM, you put him on the end of mid-range, he's just going to throw. That's hard to shoot in on. He's not going to be able to just abuse his size against him either. I think Islam's in for a rude awakening.
Islam's manager, Ali Abdelaziz, confirmed that Makhachev will fight for the undisputed welterweight belt this year. Jack is the current champion, but if he can't compete, the UFC will move forward with another opponent for Islam. Ali Abdelaziz made it clear Dana White and Hunter Campbell are fully on board.
When will it happen, Islam and Jack?
Islam fighting for the title this year. The non-interim title, a title. Jack Maddalena is the champion, but if Jack is not available, it will be someone else fighting Islam for the title. That's what the UFC told me. That's what Dana told me. That's what Hunter said. Everybody said, and that was one of the stipulations. If Islam go up, Jack get injured, and I hope he's healthy, and he seems like he's healthy, this title will be vacated, and Islam will fight for welterweight.
Coach Javier Mendez stated that whether or not Jack is Islam's toughest test is hard to say, but Islam wants the fight. This is the challenge Islam wants. Jack has never fought someone like him. Islam's work ethic, skill set, and size at welterweight will surprise people. He won't be a small welterweight, he'll be decent sized and fully prepared.
It's hard to say. It's hard to say if he's a harder challenge. I just know Islam wants this one. So for me, that's the challenge I want, and it's the challenge that I know Islam's going to be, supreme over, because I just know his skill set. I know what he brings to the table, and he brings an incredible work ethic along with skill set in every area. So, Islam's a whole different animal than the Jack's ever been involved with. So if that fight does materialize, we're going to see a hell of a fight, and you're going to see Islam perform at an absolute incredible level. And also, the weight is not super big for him either. So he's going to be a fairly decent welterweight. So Islam won't be a small guy. He'll be a decent welterweight if that fight materializes.
Max Holloway cautioned fans not to sleep on Jack despite Islam's dominance. Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now. People are counting him out, but he's number 2 pound for pound for a reason. Don't overlook him. This is going to be a tough fight.
I think he'd be fine, man. I think he'd be good, but people be sleeping on Jack, you know what I mean? And I think Jack is one of the best fighters in the world right now, and I think people is going to find out when that match happens. I don't know. I'm hearing rumors maybe October. I think it's going to be a fun fight, smart fight, but a lot of people counting out Jack for I don't know what reason. They just keep counting him out. Kind of reminds me of when I was like coming up and counting me out about certain fights. So, I mean, he is, you know, he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world right now, but he's the number 2 pound for pound in the world for a reason, so you got to respect that. But, you know, don't sleep on Jack. I think it's going to be a tough and fun fight.
Robert Whittaker echoed that. Moving weight classes brings unknowns. It's always tricky when someone changes divisions, Whittaker explained. Islam does everything Belal does, just better, but Jack's got the X factor, the hunger, the toughness. His fight against Belal wasn't easy, but he pulled through, and that says a lot.
Definitely, but like I said, it is hard to try to get like an accurate gauge on what it's going to look like, not knowing how Islam is going to look when he moves up. Okay, it's always the question everybody asks when anybody is moving up a weight division or down a weight division. Okay, there's so many unknowns involved. But saying that, I think that Islam can do everything that Belal does, but way better. Okay, way. The fight, I thought Jack handedly had the fight, but it was a fight. Okay, so I don't think it'll be an easy fight for Jack, but I believe in Jack. I think he's got that X factor. He's got that hunger there. You know, he's got the ticker, and you know, just like with Belal, just like with Burns before, I think he can do the impossible.
Khabib Nurmagomedov stated that Jack Della Maddalena could be Islam Makhachev's toughest opponent to date. He highlighted Jack's larger size compared to Ilia Topuria, matched skill level, and strong grappling. Khabib added that preparing Islam for Jack would worry him more than preparing for Ilia.
Считаю, что Maddalena самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто.
Khabib Nurmagomedov also weighed in, calling Jack potentially Islam's toughest opponent to date due to size, skill, and grappling ability.
Считаю, что Maddalena самый сложный соперник в Ислама карьере. Это мое мнение. Ни Чарльз, никто. Ни один из этих бойцов.
И даже не Илья, если бы это бой был бы.
Ну, мое личное мнение, во-первых, Maddalena 2 раза больше, чем Илья.
Сопоставим.
Илья. Он 2 раза больше. Он выше, больше, ноги помощнее, корпус, бокс не хуже. И грэпплинг он возится очень хорошо, если вы смотрели. Ну, для меня, если я например, буду готовить Ислама против Илья или Maddalena, для меня больше будет волновать и волнует Maddalena.
Joaquin Buckley raised another concern. Jack just went through a 5-round war with Belal, so his readiness to October is uncertain. Gilbert Burns supports Islam's move to 170, saying it suits him physically. He warned the fight will be closer than people think due to Jack's training with Craig Jones and Alexander Volkanovski.
You know, you talk to your brother Islam, you know what I'm saying? He trying to make them big moves up to 170. They trying to make that fight happen with him and JDM, but JDM just went through a whole 5-round war. I don't think my man gonna make it to that fight. He made Belal look like he really had.
Dan Hardy praised Jack's win over Belal, but questioned how Islam would adapt to welterweight. Quote, Makhachev dominates lightweight, but at 170, it's a new test. 5 rounds at that weight can drain you differently.
Islam's working very hard. He's been saying vocal that he wants to go up to 170. I think he's a big boy. He killed himself to make 55. I think that's the right division for Islam. He just tweeted something after the fight that he will not vacate the title, and then he vacated the title. I don't know, but probably that was in the negotiation. Yeah, I like him moving up. I've proven himself. He's number 1 pound for pound right now. It's a good fight. Jack and Islam closer than people think, especially with Jack Della Maddalena doing a lot of training with Volk, with Craig Jones, those guys that kind of back the Islam on that first Volk fight. I think they're going to have a lot of info, a lot of study, a lot of answers. It's closer than people think, this fight. I really like this fight. I don't have time right now. I didn't have time to dig deep a little too much in that fight, but I think it's way closer than people think. And JDM has a clear shot on beating.
Alexander Volkanovski believes Jack's fight with Belal was the perfect warm-up for Islam. Quote, stopping Belal's takedowns boosted Jack's confidence. His defense is leveled up. Only the best grapplers will even have a chance to take him down, and holding him there will be just as hard.
Islam Makhachev is going to be fighting Jack Della Maddalena. How do you think those two match up?
I think Jack's fight against Belal was a perfect fight for leading into that. Just purely, you take a lot out of stopping takedowns. Because again, there's every fighter's still going to have little doubts that are going to creep in. You know, I'm sure Jack was going through that, being like, all right, like, you know, worried about, you know, what if he takes me down and all that. But the fact that he was able to stop it and feel so comfortable, I guarantee you he's leveled up again. His confidence in his takedowns has just went up significantly leading into this fight. I think his confidence is going to be at a whole nother level. So through camp, like, I guarantee you if he's back in training right now, people trying to take him down are going to find it almost impossible. You know, only the top guys are going to have a chance of taking him down, and they're going to have a very hard time even holding him down.
Henry Cejudo predicts Islam will win and become a double champ. Kamaru Usman sides with Jack, citing his composure and skill set. Both expect the fight in October, likely in Abu Dhabi.
I think Islam Makhachev is going to beat him. I think he's going to become the 11th double champ in UFC history.
Islam tweeted, keep it shiny, keep it nice for me. JDM, I mean, it was kind of like the perfect comeback. He was just like, yeah, come get it.
Keep my belt clean. Okay, so the has begun, dude. That fight is set. That fight's going to take place in October, Abu Dhabi. I think we all know that. We're no longer going to get Ilya versus Islam Makhachev just now.
Philip Rowe doubts Islam has the size for welterweight. Quote, I don't think he's big enough. Jack will get up from takedowns, and I don't think Islam can take his shots. I think JDM stops him.
Philip Rowe, what's cracking, man?
Chilling.
Hey, now listen, you're welterweight. You've been in the game a long time. Islam moving up to 170. Is he big enough for 170?
My personal opinion, I don't think he is, but he's a champ. We'll see when he's there. You know what I'm saying? He has a fight. He's fighting the champ. That's the best 170 in the world right now, right? So we'll see.
So you don't think he has the size, but how do you think he does in the fight versus JDM?
I personally think JDM beats him. I think JDM will be able to get up if he does take him down. I don't think he'll be able to take JDM shots. I think personally he'll stop Islam.
Michael Bisping praised Jack's victory over Bilal, calling it a defining moment in his career. Quote, Jack's a respectful guy, great fighter, and now he gets the biggest test of his career, Islam Makhachev.
Tonight belongs to Jack Della Maddalena. He's an awesome human being. I've sat down with him several times and had some conversations. Nice guy, quiet guy, a man of few words, but I tell you what, that was an incredible fight tonight. And he'll take on Islam Makhachev. He doesn't care. He wants to be a part of the biggest fights possible. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena. That's the fight that's going to happen. And that's the fight that I will be doing a video on next.
Ian Machado Gari warned the division to take Islam seriously. Quote, if he comes up without the cut, he'll be strong, fresh, and dangerous. He's the perfect example of the new evolution of fighters. Great everywhere.
And if that man turns up and says, I want to be next, then I think everyone in the welterweight division goes, okay. He's an absolute disaster for everyone in the division if he comes up and doesn't have to cut weight. He'll still be big, he'll still be strong. He's the perfect example of the new evolution of fighters. Great everywhere.
The stage is set. Islam Makhachev versus Jack Della Maddalena could be one of the most intriguing fights of the year, combining size questions, stylistic contrasts, and championship stakes. The fans will find out in October whether Islam can conquer a second division, or if Jack defends his belt and solidifies his own pound-for-pound legacy. So what do you think? Who takes this clash of champions, Islam or Jack? Share your predictions in the comments, and don't forget to subscribe for more fight breakdowns.